Hey guys, making a video here today. My colleague, Dr. Nick Paldinelli, over in Michigan, made a video the other day talking about thyroid health and how stress can affect your thyroid, your metabolism, and then you reaching your goals if it comes to weight loss, having more energy, and managing that stress better. So I wanted to talk through a little slide that I created that I go through with my patients, just connecting chiropractic, how this deals with stress and how it can affect your digestive system and overall inflammation in the body. So to start, we look at how chiropractic affects the nervous system and the brain and that signaling that occurs between the rest of the body and the brain, so that way the body can function optimally. So if you look at here, if we start with the first part of the cycle, usually typically what happens and where we're coming in as chiropractors is you get decreased signaling to the brain. In this case, over in the diagram, we're using the neck as the example there. So if you have a subluxation in your neck, you're now no longer sending as many signals or as accurate of signals to the brain. And that's what then starts to create this second part of the cycle here, which is pain activation. So the brain is going to send signals back to the rest of the body, creating pain in your neck, soreness, stiffness, kind of stabbing type pains if it's very severe. And that's again just to protect you. So in response to that decreased signaling, you're now getting pain activation, and pain activation has very powerful impacts on the rest of the body as well. So where that impact is felt next is in your stress response. So being that you're now experiencing pain, the brain also activates the adrenal glands to release cortisol. And Dr. Paldinelli was talking about the effects of cortisol on the thyroid. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the digestive system and the effects that cortisol has there. So once that cortisol is released into the bloodstream, blood circulates over the entire body, including to your stomach. So if we stop in at number 4 here at the stomach and see what happens, as cortisol acts on the stomach actually starts to produce less acid. So hydrochloric acid and pepsin are the two things released in the stomach to help digest protein and to eliminate harmful bacteria and pathogens that get into our body that may be on our food. So that stomach acid is very important, and we'll talk about that here in the next stages as to why that is. You also absorb zinc and magnesium in the stomach here, and that zinc and magnesium now starts to get depleted. So you aren't absorbing it as efficiently as a result of losing that stomach acid, and both of those minerals are very important for bodily processes, including muscle pain and stiffness, mood, the immune system. Hormonal imbalances can be linked to those deficiencies as well. So moving on, after we lose that stomach acid here in the stomach, as that food and acid leaves the stomach, it's that strong acid signal, that low pH of that acid that triggers your liver and gallbladder to release bile to help you digest those fats. And it's also the acid that triggers the pancreas to release all of its digestive enzymes. So think of the acid as kind of like your on button. It's that switch, that trigger that's going to make the rest of the gut do what it needs to do, because that's what's telling it the first step of the process is done. So now you have decreased fat digestion, you have decreased carbohydrate digestion, those sorts of things in your food that you need those nutrients. And you're also, if you look here, slowing your gut motility. So there's all these little hairs that are constantly sweeping the bacteria through your gut, replenishing and replacing so no one bacteria gets overgrown. It's also what causes that peristalsis, that squeezing of the digestive system to move that food and those nutrients through the small intestine, through the large intestine, creating and gathering that waste so then it can go out of the body. So you're losing that motility as well. So when it comes to constipation and chronic inflammation and toxins leaking into the bloodstream, if that food and that waste is sitting there longer than it should because it's not moving through, then you have a higher chance of that happening as well. So when that food is moving through now, because you didn't have those digestive enzymes and the liver bile doing its job there, now you have undigested food lower down into the digestive system. When that food is not fully digested, that's what causes leaky gut or intestinal permeability. That undigested food actually triggers an immune response by the tissues here in your lower gut. So now that immune response starts to attack the gut lining, making that gut lining leaky. And now all the toxins that are building up inside your digestive system that should go out in the waste that you produce are now escaping into the bloodstream. So once those toxins get into the bloodstream, now we have inflammation or an immune response occurring in the bloodstream, and that blood goes everywhere. So now we have systemic inflammation occurring. That systemic inflammation circulates back up to the neck where you had the decrease in signaling, where that damage to the muscles and ligaments is occurring. And now that damage to muscles and ligaments leads to less accurate signals, an even further decrease. And now this cycle runs and runs and runs for years and years unless we step in and stop it. So now you know kind of how chiropractic works on reducing stress, works on reducing pain and inflammation in the rest of the body, and it can be tied to then fixing your digestion. So what do we do in our office that's maybe a little different than an approach you had at another chiropractor or even in a functional medicine clinic, is we try to step in at different parts of the cycle. So if you look first, we try to step in here with chiropractic, get the proper signaling from the neck to the brain. This is where the fire alarm, this is why it's going off. So why not just improve the signaling to the brain with a chiropractic adjustment, so that way we can shut off that pain activation that's then turning on that cortisol response. The other thing we do that's unique to our office is we work on the stress response. We want to train this to be less kind of sensitive. You want to be able to get stressed, but you don't want to get so stressed that it's affecting your body negatively. So we work with adaptogens. It's a supplement, herbal-based supplement that helps regulate that cortisol response so that you can get better sleep. We can turn off that fire alarm that the brain is activating and keep those stress levels under control, so that way the rest of this digestive process can now happen normally and heal as we work on that stress response. And the last portion is, yes, working on your digestion. So we step in and look at how much stomach acid is being produced. Your stomach is going to have to regain that function. So we look at retraining that by supplementing that stomach acid for brief amounts of time until that stomach acid and the rest of the digestive system start to function better. Ultimately, that decreases your systemic inflammation, and now you're not doing damage to those muscles, ligaments, and organs in the rest of the body. So you're kind of shutting down this part. We're not fueling this decreased signaling. We're increasing the signaling, shutting down the stress response, and ultimately allowing the body to heal by shutting off that improper inflammation that's occurring based on that digestion. So hope that provides a lot of good information to you guys. Patients usually love hearing this because it ties it all together and it gives them a plan. It's like, here's what we're going to work on. Here's how we restore the proper function, shut down this cycle, and ultimately your body then starts to heal. So hope you guys love this video. Share it. Let your friends know. Make sure they go in to see a good chiropractor and ask good questions. Bring this with you if you want, and talk it through with that doctor. If they can't explain it to you, you might need to go somewhere else. It's not a wrap on that doctor. It's just, again, if you're having problems that deal with this, and it just takes another level to get you feeling better. So thanks, guys. Have a great day.